it doesn't surprise me in a sense that when you hear this Antifa and Black Lives Matter backed by the same person, it doesn't surprise me that people are going to be looking into the coffers, going to be looking into the treasury and all that shit and see where the money's going. It just doesn't surprise me. Antifa brings a lot of bad shit with their fucking name. A lot of bad shit. This is the article. It's by Treading Politics. Black activist tells people not to donate to Black Lives Matter over missing millions. And this was written on... It had 25,000 views. Not bad for an article, I suppose. Anyways, I can't see when... I know it was written this last week, I believe. But it goes, in what started as a social media hashtag, the Black Lives Matter movement has blossomed into an amazingly large organization with corporate offices in New York City, high-powered lawyers defending civil rights in courts around the country, and a string of legislative victories in the states and Congress. That's just a fucking pure satire, sarcasm. Almost none of that is true, with the exception of the fact that Black Lives Matter did stem from a hashtag following the acquittal of neighborhood watch volunteer and white Hispanic George Zimmerman in 2013, who shot and killed Trayvon Martin during a struggle the previous year. There are no Black Lives Matter corporate offices, as far as anyone can tell. There are no high-priced times fighting perceived racial and civil rights injustice in the courts around the country. There is no lobby wing and no political action infrastructure. But there's a website for the organization, and it has a donate button that goes to Act Blue, and a fundraising platform used to channel the money to left-wing candidates and extremist Democrats. Now, I'm going to read some of the activists what she was saying. Man, okay, black activist Ashley Yates has herself sounding the warning bell and has told people not to donate to Black Lives Matter because it's a conduit straight to the Democratic Party. This is what she said. Again, please stop giving money to Black Lives Matter Network. By their own admission, they have no staff, no infrastructure. She tweeted June 8th, adding that in 6 years, they have not produced a single community program sponsored by a single piece of legislation or financially supported by a single chapter. Then she dropped an email and said, while focusing on local organizing and sounds cute, there's a lot of unanswered about the national staff and where all the money went. And then she points out, also knows how the first main objective is listed as aggressive fundraising so they can blow more money on vacays. That's what she said. Now, like I said, that now people are going to have their own views on that, but it definitely, I think, deserves to be brought into question, especially when I think you have big name people like Styles P. and Candace Owens and all that, and start actually putting the movement under the microscope, and actually, where does the donations go? Where is all the money going? It's a good question. And, I mean, just moving on to another fucking crazy-ass left-wing person, man. It really, this one, I think, really got under my skin. I'm going to read what the PalmerReport tweeted, and then I'm going to give my opinion. I'm gonna say what he said, so that I don't be cutting in and out. That's what I'm gonna do. Just so it's easier for, I think, everybody to listen. He goes, this is what he says. This is what he tweets. We should rehabilitate any conservatives who are willing to try. We should pay for them to undergo therapy and retraining so they can understand the world around them. But first we must get them out of positions of influence because they are infringing on the rights of others. We shouldn't be cold-hearted about this, but having a conservative as a police officer, for instance, isn't much different from having a KKK member as a police officer. It is just not something that, as a civilized society, can ever tolerate. People who promote the racist propaganda, hate speech on OANN are dangerous thugs. They have no place in respectful society. Mike Gundy cannot remain at Oklahoma State head coach. Too influential for him for a position in society, fire him unless he agrees to get extensive psychological help. It's time we acknowledge that conservatism is just a political view. It isn't just some political view. It means you're on the very bottom rung of society, dangerous and deranged. Some conservatives are trying to become better people. Great. But people who flaunt their conservatism are psychotic. Now, he's talking about Mike Gundy, the head coach that wore the OANN shirt and got drugged by his running back. But now they've both talked about how he probably shouldn't have been wearing that shirt, and then Chuba walked back saying he probably should have just went and talked to him like a man instead of tweeting about it. But PalmerReport didn't wait for shit to come out. He just gave out this offensive ass shit. And when you look in the comments, yeah, you definitely see a hell of people agreeing with him and shit. It doesn't surprise me. That doesn't shock me no more. I think for some people it would shock them. It doesn't shock me, man. The hate for just normal conservatives is fucking insane. The hate for moderates is insane. And I know people are going to say that's not true. It is true. It might not be true from the majority of the Americans, but there's a fucking fringe group that hates conservatives, moderates, independents. Because guess what? We don't align with the right or the far left. Kind of just want to stay normal liberals, normal libertarians, normal conservatives, normal independents, normal moderates. And shit, even a normal centrist. But 2020, can't have that shit. You got to be one side or the other no matter how you spin it. And that, I don't subscribe to that. I'm not going to subscribe to that. Because that's a fucked up notion. And I think the PalmerReport, I think he got drugged by a lot of conservatives. Maybe they didn't really do anything to talk about it, this, that, the other thing, but I did. And I don't take that, I'm not afraid to say he's a piece of shit. Just like Hillary Clinton, when Hillary Clinton's like, oh, they're all deplorables. Yeah, we're deplorables because your bitch ass didn't win. We're dangerous and deranged because this man has severe Trump derangement syndrome and is literally probably sitting at home waiting for Trump to say something so he can find a reason to hate it, no matter how much he hates it. I know that might be hard for some people to accept, but it is what it is. From my view, I just think what he said was fucked up, and I don't really think there's any walking that back. I just don't. And then, I mean, just going on to, some crazy shit that I think is going on still, because I don't think conservatives would ever do something so stupid as let's occupy 6 blocks, vandalize the shit out of it, stop normal businesses from being able to work unless they're a coffee shop that aligns with your fucking views. Yeah. Let's talk about the Chaz. I had an amazing conversation this morning with a friend, a cousin. I had a good conversation. And I really think, people really think that's just some hippie fucking zone. All love, all night, all day, baby. Oh yeah, Woodstock, burning bowls, dropping acid. Oh yeah, bro, fucking everywhere. Some love fest shit. Oh, bullshit it is. It might be that during 10 a.m. when everybody, all the people that are actually maybe somewhat not fucking psychotic are out there trying their best to push this LARPing idea at this point, because that's all I think it is at this point. I'm going to steal that from Tim Pool and Sticks X Handle. They're fucking LARPing. Yeah. And Antifa's mad that they're being labeled as a terrorist organization. Y'all are fucking terrorists. Accept the fucking label. You don't see the Taliban getting mad. Why should y'all get mad? Embrace that shit. You embrace everything else. And that people, that's kind of an out there opinion. I don't care if it is. I'm perfectly okay with that being a fucked up opinion. Some of the shit Antifa has embraced is fucked. And the fact that their so-called leaders are okay with the aggression, the being the aggressor, the violence, that's nuts to me, man. I thought that was supposed to just be bad apples. It's not. But we'll just act like they're just a bunch of kids just out there hoping for a better future. Why they take over property that's not theirs, build barricades and barriers and barricades that aren't theirs, armed guards with guns out of the back of trunks. Yeah, we'll act like there's some glorious fucking group of people. They have segregated gardens, but I'm sure someone has a glorious argument for that. I'm sure they do. We want everyone to be equal, but yet you have a fucking segregated garden. You can't write this shit. Hollywood couldn't predict this shit. We are living in a fucking movie. Tim Pool says it's a comedy. Nah, man. Nah, this is a fucking drama comedy is what this shit is. It's fucking nuts. But to see people openly defend Antifa and say that it's not and it's not just people that I know. I see it all over. I see people say they're not a group. They're not. Yes, they are. You don't see bikers and gang members and everyone else that's skinheads and shit walking back their label. Why does Antifa get to walk that shit back? Nah, you're going to accept that fucking label. I don't care if juggalos point it out. I don't care if gang members point it out. I don't care if grandmas point that shit out. Wear that label and be proud of it. Yeah, you want to be a part of the group? You rock that label. There's no point in getting mad about it. There's no point in getting pissy about it. Because guess what? It's already happening. You're already going to be labeled a terrorist. You've already been labeled a terrorist. The saying you guys use, ACAB, all cops are bastards, that's literally been linked, it's literally defined as hate speech. By, what one is it? I think it's the ACLU or somebody? Yeah. The fuck? This shit's nuts. Like I said, you can't write this shit. It's nuts. And then, like, I guess one of the bigger questions I have out there is the police force being targeted? I know a lot of people are going to say nope. No way. Don't know what you're talking about. Okay, let's go with that. I'm cool with that. What about the Shake Shack and the 3 police with the bleach in their drinks? And then another cop finding metal in one of his some of his food from on the other side of the United States. Now, as a person that's worked in food, I'm gonna tell you right now, the cleaning agents aren't anywhere near the food and never have been. As long as I've worked in food, so no, bleach doesn't magically just sit in a fucking in a pop in a fucking pop dispenser. None of that shit. No, it doesn't. But you could say what you want, and I'm gonna think what I know. Because I know for a fact, when I've worked in food, the cleaning agents are on the opposite side of anything food related until everything's taken down and going to get cleaned for the night. I'm not saying they're being targeted, but I don't think they're not being targeted. That's like I said, it's just a question. What does everyone else think? There's so many reports, this, that, the other. I don't know. Can we just call it a coincidence? Who knows? But having mayors and all that and governors basically tell the police force to stand down and all this shit, and all the stuff that's been going on with the rioting, the looting, even if they are making arrests, the majority of the people that did that shit are never going to get arrested. The people that may have started it will, but not the majority. It's just, like I said, it's just a question. But I got another thing that I want to talk about, a double standard. And one of the double standards that is clear as day right now is, well, de Blasio and Andrew Cuomo are making this a clear as day double standard. They're going to lock up parks and blame businesses for opening back up for a possible COVID second wave. But we're not going to address, even I see COVID things pop up all over. But we're not going to address that things just started to open back up, but there's protest happening with 2,000-3,000 people at a time standing around and walking. Do you think, I thought we had to have social distance. They're surely not social distancing. But I think that's a double standard. And the New York Post had a fucking a great front page picture of it, man. People at bars having a drink, and then you see the protesting for the Black Trans Lives Matter movement. You've seen that, and then it's what the Post is. But they're going to blame one side for the COVID popping up, and that's fucked up. Because when they had the protest for open the economy back up, shut lockdown down, all that stuff, nobody wanted to hear that mess. But as soon as police brutality was a thing, everyone and their mama came out their house. Fuck COVID, right? But grandma was going to die a week before. So there's definitely a double standard going on. And there's definitely a lot of people that aren't vocal about anything because they could be afraid, this, that, or the other. I think there's a lot of people that are afraid to say anything about the conservatives, about the left, about the progressives, about the alt-rights, about Antifa, about anybody. I think they're afraid. And I think that being afraid is making it so they don't want to speak up. Well, a lot of us are going to speak up, and we're going to say our piece, whether somebody likes it or not. And I just think, man, the fact that they're going to try to blame one for the other when one clearly is probably going to be more of a detriment than the other, I don't know. Spin it however you want. I'm not going to say people are waking up. I'm not going to say people are taking the wool from their eyes. But I think people are noticing. And I think